Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And welcome to Lesson 5 of Straight Path Academy Arabic Volume 1, Reading Arabic Letters. Today we'll be learning two more Arabic letters that share the same shape, but are differentiated from one another according to their dots. So firstly, we have the letter Sin. The letter Sin sounds like the English S. So for example, an Arabic word that begins with the letter Sin is the word Sunnah. And this is how the letter Sin looks when it's written alone, and this is how it looks when it is in the beginning, middle, and end of a connection. As we can see, the shape of the letter Sin is similar to a small W. It's basically just a little W shape. And the Sin contains no dots. However, the second letter we learned today is the letter Sheen. And as we can see, the letter Sheen, it also has that W shape. However, there are 3 dots above. Now the letter Sheen sounds like the English combination of S and H. So the Sheen sounds like sh. For example, an Arabic word that begins with the letter Sheen is the word sheikh. So this is how the Sheen looks alone, and this is how it looks in the beginning, middle, and end of a connection. Once again, as we can see, it's characterized by that W shape, but the Sheen has 3 dots above and sounds like sh. Whereas the Sin has no dots and sounds like S. So now that we learned these new letters, let's go to the exercise and practice. So let's try number 14 together. Step number 1, as always, is identifying the letter. So which letter did we just learn that has that W shape but has 3 dots above? That would be the letter Sheen. So we're going to write an S and an H for the letter Sheen. After identifying the letter, next we identify the haraka. A line written above a letter is a fetha and sounds like a. So we're going to write an A for the fetha. So this first letter and haraka sound like sha, sha. The next step is identifying the second letter. Which letter did we learn today that has that W shape but no dots? That is the letter Sin, which sounds like S. So we're going to write an S for the Sin. After identifying the letter, we want to identify its haraka. A line written beneath a letter is called a kesra and sounds like E. So we're going to write an I for the kesra. So the combination of this letter and haraka is C. C. And finally, we need to identify the third letter. Which letter has a W shape with 3 dots above? That's the letter Sheen. So we're going to write S, H for the letter Sheen. And finally, we need to identify its haraka. What is this loop shape written above a letter? That is the dhamma. So we're going to write a U for the dhamma. But we're not done yet because this dhamma has an extra curve coming up at the end, which means it has tanween. And tanween gives it that N sound at the end. So we're going to write an N for the tanween. So this letter in haraka makes a sh sound for the sheen and un for the tanween dhamma. Together it's shun, shun. So finally, let's read this entire combination of letters and harakat. We have sha, si, shun. Sha, si, shun. Now let's do one more together and let's go towards the end. By the end of the exercise, we start bringing in all of the past letters that we learned. So let's try number 30 together. First, we identify the letter. Which letter has a wave-like shape with a dot above? That would be the letter kha. So we're going to write K, H for the letter kha. Next, we identify the haraka above the letter kha. As we can see, this is a loop above the letter, which means it's a dhamma, which sounds like U. So we're going to write a U for the dhamma. If we go to the next letter, we need to identify which letter has a wave-like shape but a dot beneath. That would be the letter Jim, which sounds like the letter J in English. So we'll write a J for the Jim. Next, we identify the haraka. A line written above a letter is called a fetha and sounds like the English A. So the Jim and fetha sound like Ja. Moving on to the third letter. Which letter looks like a W with no dots. That's the letter Sin. So we write an S for the Sin. A loop written above a letter is called a Dhamma. It sounds like the English U, oo. So the Sin and Dhamma sound like Su. Moving to the fourth letter. Which letter looks like a W but has 3 dots above? That's the letter Sheen. So we write SH for the letter Sheen. The Sheen has a line written above it, which is called a Fetha. So we're going to write an A for the Fetha. And then the last letter here is a U shape with a dot underneath. Which letter is that? That's the first letter we learned. That is the letter Ba. Sounds like the letter B. And beneath the letter Ba, there's not 1 but 2 kesras. So for the first kesra, we're going to write an I for that E sound. And for the second kesra, we're going to write that N for tanween. So let's go back and read this entire combination of letters and harakat. We have khu, ja, su, sha, bin. Khu, ja, su, sha, bin. So that does it for lesson 5, meaning there's only 15 more lessons left. Make sure you practice by completing the exercises, and before you know it, you'll be reading the Arabic language, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.